director's brother-in-law, came to similar conclusions in the same time frame. Friedman is a massive figure in neoliberal history, whose influence on economic thinking during the Cold War period is difficult to overstate. He was an economic advisor from the 1960s to the 1980s to Barry Goldwater and Presidents Nixon, Ford, and Reagan, and also served as the president of the Mont Pelerin Society from 1970 to 1972. His major contributions to neoliberal thought begin with the highly intriguing article written in 1951 entitled Neoliberalism and Its Prospects. The first interesting aspect of this article is that it is one of the first and few writings in history that transparently identifies itself as neoliberal. It is also a remarkably helpful document for understanding the development of neoliberalism, but only up to this point in history. Like Hayek, Friedman insisted that laissez-faire liberalism and Keynesian intervention had both failed, highlighting the need for the new faith, as Friedman put it, of neoliberalism. Neoliberalism would accept the 19th century liberal emphasis on the fundamental importance of the individual, but it would substitute for the 19th century goal of laissez-faire as a means to this end, the goal of the competitive order. It would seek to use competition among producers to protect consumers from exploitation, competition among employers to protect workers and owners of property, and competition among consumers to protect the enterprises themselves. The state would police the system, establish conditions favorable to competition and prevent monopoly, provide a stable monetary framework, and relieve acute misery and distress. The citizens would be protected against the state by the existence of a free private market, and against one another by the preservation of competition. But soon after the publication of this article, Friedman and the rest of the free market study diverged from their anti-monopoly roots. Friedman now claimed that monopoly persisted only when governments supported them. Like Director, Friedman claimed that monopolies were highly visible and therefore targets for competition, but also argued that the effective power of monopoly over prices and wages tends to be considerably exaggerated, further portraying monopolies as relatively harmless. Friedman especially would become known throughout his career for his sanguine view of competition as a panacea for all kinds of economic difficulty, and his time in the free market study was the origin of that public stance.